The poll? Because they don't decide the election. The call for Joe Biden isn't who was it called by? Oh my goodness, all the networks. Wow. All the networks. We have to forget about the law. Judges don't count. All the networks thought Biden was going to win by 10%. Gee, what happened? Come on, don't be ridiculous. Networks don't get to decide elections. Courts do.
New Zealand, of course, has recognised and sent acknowledgement to the President-elect Joe Biden.
I congratulate President-elect Biden.
Ich gratuliere Joe Biden ganz herzlich zu seiner Wahl zum 46. Präsidenten der Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika.
But I join with other nations' leaders around the world in congratulating President-elect Joe Biden.
改めてバイデン氏、ハリスに心よりお祝い申し上げたいと思います。
Al nuovo presidente Joe Biden i nostri auguri di buon lavoro.
אני רוצה לפתוח בברכות לג'ו ביידן ולקמלה האריס.
It is clear now that the 46th president-elect is Joe Biden.
This adorable Dalmatian puppy joined firefighters during a workout, but have you ever wondered why Dalmatians are considered firehouse dogs? It dates back to before firefighters had fire engines. In the 1700s, people realized that Dalmatians would run alongside horse-drawn carriages and protect the horses. Firefighters back then used horse-drawn carriages to get to fires, and Dalmatians quickly became important sidekicks. They'd run alongside the horses and bark to let people know to move out of the way. They'd also protect the horses and the carriage while the firefighters were busy fighting a fire. After the invention of automobiles, many firehouses continued to keep Dalmatians around, simply because it was a beloved tradition by then.
Frankly, we did win this election.
Sir, what do you say to the Americans that are anxious over the fact that President Trump has yet to concede and what that might mean for the country?
Well, I just think it's an embarrassment.
Let's not have any lectures, no lectures about how the president should immediately, cheerfully accept preliminary election results.
In fact, he may not have been defeated at all.
We're going to allow the president the right that he has to follow through with the courts.
Senator, have you congratulated Vice President Biden yet? Why not?
Have you thought at all about that?
We will not wait to 4 years from now to change this. We are going to fight this now, and we're going to change it.
I believe President Trump still has a path to victory.
President Trump should not concede.
How do you expect to work with Republicans if they won't even acknowledge you as president-elect?
They will.
So President-elect Trump didn't win the popular vote. It looks like now, A, does he have a mandate, and B, what does he mandate to do?
Well, we've been there before. You know, that happened in 2000. And the American people understand that if you get 270 electoral votes, you're president. And I'd like to compliment Vice President Gore. You know, he conceded. He didn't run around saying we ought to amend the Constitution to get rid of the Electoral College. He accepted the results of the system that we have. And Secretary Clinton did the same thing, to her credit, this morning. So the election is over. We know who won. And we're going to move on from there and do the best we can for the American people. Thanks a lot, everybody.
And to the woman most responsible for my presence here today, my mother, Kamala Harris, who is always in our hearts. When she came here from India at the age of 19, she maybe didn't quite imagine this moment, but she believed so deeply in an America where a moment like this is possible. And so I am thinking about her and about the generations of women, Black women, Asian, white, Latina, Native American women who throughout our nation's history have paved the way for this moment tonight.
One of the companies working on a COVID-19 vaccine released early data claiming it's 90% effective. Pfizer and German company BioNTech administered either the trial vaccine or a placebo to more than 43,000 volunteers. They then looked at 94 volunteers who tested positive for COVID-19 and found that more than 90% of them had received the placebo. This is great news, but it's important to remember it'll take many more months before a vaccine is widespread in the U.S., so keep wearing a mask and physically distancing until then.
And to the woman most responsible for my presence here today, my mother, Kamala Harris, who is always in our hearts. When she came here from India at the age of 19, she maybe didn't quite imagine this moment, but she believed so deeply in an America where a moment like this is possible. And so I am thinking about her and about the generations of women, Black women, Asian, white, Latina, Native American women who throughout our nation's history have paved the way for this moment tonight.
The Prime Minister spoke for many of us when he took a call yesterday to congratulate President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris on their emphatic win in the US presidential election. So does the Prime Minister now have any advice for his erstwhile best friend, President Trump, whose continuing refusal to accept the result is both embarrassing for him and dangerous for American democracy?
Prime Minister. Well, Mr. Speaker, I had and have a good relationship with the previous president. I do not resile from that. This is the duty of all British Prime Ministers to have a good relationship with the White House. But I'm delighted to find the many areas in which the incoming Biden-Harris administration is able to make common cause with us.
President Trump is 100% within his rights to look into allegations of irregularities and weigh his legal options. Now, more broadly, Mr. President, let's not have any lectures, no lectures about how the president should immediately, cheerfully accept preliminary election results. We're not Democrats first, we're not Republicans first. We're Americans first. We're patriots first. And now, as you put it, we're all rooting for the president-elect's success in uniting and leading the country. I again want to congratulate President-elect Trump on his victory